through your freedom.
Fake carrots. Fake fruit. Fake. Fake. Fake grapefruits. Fake. Liar! You liar!
Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. Here we go. I mean, literally, here we go. The title of this video, SHTF explained in 1 hour. I can actually probably get it in under a minute. And then go into, of course, some detail, right? What is SHTF? It's hit the fan. Everything you know in life changes. It's been happening out there, but then you see it in your mind. What has changed? Everything. Politics, economics, common sense, your family, your friends, the job market. Everything changes in SHTF. It goes to just total stupidville. And that's where we're at, folks. I've got an entire just list of crazy shit that has happened. And this isn't what happened last week or what's happened this year or the last decade. This is what's happened since we talked just last night. Just some unbelievable shit going on, folks. And guess what? You and I get to deal with it. That's SHTF. No longer is it the government's problem or your boss's problem. No longer is it a thing of the past or a vision that's way out in the future. SHTF means it's happening right now. And you and me, we've got to deal with it. That's what it is. That's the essence of shit hitting the fan. It becomes our problem. Whew, good golly, I tell you. We're going to do the Q&A after the monologue, so get your questions in. Jolene is back. She's back. Back in black. She's back from a hiatus over the weekend, and I really hope she had a good time. Ooman held down the fort. Jolene was back there, quietly in the background, making sure we didn't mess up too much. What a day, what a weekend. Let's do it. Let's get into it. And I want to thank Ooman again for sticking it out and battling through everything. I'm sure he slept well after that. So let's start. Where shall I start? How about this? The last nuclear reactor at the plant in Ukraine has been shut down. It's been shut down. I think this is a great move, not only for Russia, but for the people of Ukraine, so they know, right, who is to blame. And you and I, the people of the United States of America, the people of Europe, the people of China, the people of Japan, all around the world, we don't have to worry about the Ukrainian military bombing a nuclear reactor and causing an accident. It's just now shut down. Europe's largest single nuclear power plant is now shut down. Whose fault is that? I'll tell you what, I don't think it's Putin's fault. Whoever was shelling, that is to say, bombing the plant from the outside, caused this. And I love how they say the Russians have been shelling it. The Russians are the one occupying the plant. Are you telling me that they are shelling themselves? They're launching and lobbing missiles and bombs at themselves? That makes about as much sense as hiring a short, incompetent, light in the loafers, skinny jeans wearing idiot comedian entertainer, making that person the leader of your country. Yes, I was describing Voldemort Zelensky. Vladimir Zelensky. What a jackass. Now, what's amazing, folks, is this guy. He has earned a whole lot more ire and, shall I say, I can't make fun of him enough, except the ways I want to make fun of him will get me canceled by Google and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and everyone else. They're like, you're going to have to cancel that guy, shut down his bank accounts, shut everything down, take away his cell phone, take away his car. He's violating all kinds of social norms. You know, we can't make fun of the special protected class of people who like to, let's say, engage in monkeypox spreading activities. Anyways, this little idiot, he is a coward, an idiot, and a stooge of the World Economic Forum. I'm talking about Ukraine's President Zelensky. Right? This is what he said. He had this to say about Trump. I believe he had enough time, plenty of time, to understand who Putin is. He continued, I think he was sitting at such a high position where it's not even possible not to recognize that Putin is the opponent in terms of values to your own people. He, meaning Trump, has all the might of this country, meaning the U.S., intelligence, data, to create a psychological profile. What he's trying to say is what Putin did is Trump's fault. Trump wasn't even president, and it's Trump's fault that Putin had to roll in to Ukraine. Right? It's Trump's fault because, you know, he had the entire intelligence and data gathering system of the United States military and Department of Defense and intelligence services and secret services. Trump should have known. Well, I mean, folks, Trump wasn't even in office for a whole year after. Biden was in office for one entire year before Putin invaded. And Biden had 8 years as VP to figure out who Putin was. And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milli Vanilli, had decades to compile a psychological profile to deal with Putin. I mean, Zelensky should have handed over his decade of intelligence gathering right in Ukraine on what they had on Putin and then hand it over. But I guess he didn't. I mean, they failed. The World Economic Forum, Zelensky, the Department of Defense, I mean, they were all in place before and after Trump, as if they didn't have their own files on Putin, as if they didn't know who Putin was psychologically, as if they didn't understand Putin's ability, his military capability. This is just another way, folks, to try and make Trump the scapegoat. Once again, SHTF explained in 1 hour, in 1 minute. Here it goes. Nothing is ever the fault of the government that's in charge. Everything is someone else's fault. They're not responsible ever for anything, but they'll take credit for everything good that happens. Right? They failed, folks. They pissed off Putin, and Putin has put himself in the catbird seat. He's in charge, and they don't like it. And they're blaming Trump now, as if that's going to help our elections, put more Democrats in office, right? As far as Zelensky goes, folks, what a pussy. This is all a sham. And I'm gonna just tell you, implore you, don't fall for a word of their crap. I mean, it is such pig-headed ignorance on the part of these jackasses. I mean, they got the whole barnyard in there. And I'm sure Zelensky and his buddies would love to get jiggy with a barnyard full of animals. Bunch of fruitcakes. All right, folks, have you got your topics? Send them in to Jolene. Put them in the comment section down below. Now, speaking of dirtbags you can't trust and we shouldn't believe, I'm going to move on. Lindsey Graham has decided he is going to criticize Trump now. And he says that, well, pardoning the January 6th protesters is a bad idea. Well, Lindsey Graham, how about the protesters have been in prison for almost 2 years? We're closer to 2 years than 1 year. Over 18 months, they've been in prison without trial. That is a clear violation of the Constitution, the Supreme Court, and the Declaration of Independence. And I'm going to start saying that. When the government is violating the terms of the Declaration of Independence, we ought to make note and say something. You see, the Declaration of Independence is the complaint we had against a tyrant, the King of England. We need to start quoting it, not just, right, that it's our right and duty to throw off bad government, but to say that's exactly what King George did. The president now, his Department of Justice, the Attorney General's office are violating the Constitution. They're subjecting Americans to laws that are foreign to their own constitution. That is a violation of the Declaration of Independence. The more they violate the Declaration of Independence, folks, the more you ought to be polishing and oiling your firearms, because we need to have a parade. You see, right now the FBI would say, see, John's trying to foment violence. No. We should have a parade. It's just like Antifa gets to carry their guns. And just like the NFAC crowd got to have their parades and march with their guns. Gee, shouldn't we be able to as well? At the very least, you'll know that Republicans and hunters and patriots and veterans won't be shooting our fellow people, our fellow comrades, as we march in a parade, unlike the NFAC that managed to shoot at least 2 of their own people with their own guns. Freaking idiot. I mean, who is violent and who is not? Who is violent and who is not? I love how they love to say that we are the violent ones. Well, get this, folks. A woman in Texas has threatened to kill a judge, right, over the Trump raid case. Right? She's threatening to kill a judge who didn't make any determination other than there needs to be a special master. That is a disinterested professional jurist or lawyer or barrister or attorney, someone who knows the law, needs to take a look into this and determine what is and isn't right. In other words, it's kind of like a judge for the judge. But kind of like how in football you've got, well, the head referee, and then you got side judges and other judges, and there's referees, dudes in black and white stripes all over the field in football. It's kind of what this is, right? Special master, it's going to help make a better decision, right? Unbelievable, folks. But yeah, since you don't like what's going on, just threaten the judges. Make death threats. Well, I'm glad that Texas decided to arrest this ding-dong charged with threatening to kill a judge. Unbelievable. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me to threaten to kill a judge. I mean, if you're going to do it, you do it. You don't talk about it. Right? Unbelievable. Okay, folks, get your questions into Jolene. I am going to continue. And you're just going to love this, right? SHTF in 1 hour. When the president of your country does everything he can to destroy your country, that's when you know you're an SHTF. Folks, remember when I said, look, 1/3, 1 out of every 3 Democrats thinks Biden needs to be impeached. That's incredible. Not 1 out of 30, not 1%. It's 1 out of 3. That means you got 3 Democrats and 2 go, we love Biden. And the other one's like, yeah, I don't think so. He's so bad, even Democrats are changing their mind about this clown. So to impeach or not, get this, folks. Last week, 8.5 million barrels of oil were drawn out of that's me and you, our strategic petroleum reserve. This is the largest, the single largest sale of our history, of our oil in history. Record amount, folks. Record amount removed. I wonder who this was sold to. I wonder if it's China yet again. He's draining, folks. President Biden, Gigi, dipshit, Brandon is draining our strategic petroleum reserve. Now, what other country right now has done something similar? Could it be Germany? Germany has drained their CNG, their compressed natural gas that was coming from Russia, right? They get all that natural gas, it's in gaseous form, and then they compress it and squeeze it back into a liquid and store it in tanks, compressed natural gas. That's their strategic reserves to get them through the winter when the demand is much higher and the people don't want to freeze to death. What have they done? They've screwed up their energy supply system so badly, folks, by pissing off Russia, that they've squandered away their strategic reserve, their ability to get through the winter. And Biden's doing a very similar thing to us. a very similar thing to us. He's giving away our strategic petroleum reserves. That's supposed to be for our emergencies, not to sell to China or some other country so that the big guy gets his 10%. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, folks. SHTF explained in 1 hour. How about this? Americans screwing over their fellow countrymen. Well, it's to take care of themselves. Unions, folks, we're going from bad to worse with our transportation infrastructure to make sure goods get delivered around the country. Well, U.S. railroads are enacting a contingency plan. Well, why? Why do the railroads need a contingency plan? Well, in case of emergency. What emergency could be happening? How about this? The railroad companies are preparing for the labor unions to strike. They're going to go on strike and fuck up all the railroads. Right? This country relies, it's a very large country. The United States of America relies on railroads to transport goods from one end to the other, from north to south. I mean, we have trucks, over-the-road trucking, of course, but we also have rail car. And it moves a lot of raw materials, folks. Oil, coal, everything, fuel, as well as goods that are produced that need to be shipped from manufacturers across the country. Unbelievable. So this is United States unions that are going to screw things up. Well, there's a lot of inflation and they want raises. And if we don't give them their money, right? In other words, this is a type of extortion where they're like, you know what, we've got you by the balls and we're going to jump off the ladder, right? So the unions, are they going to pay or not? Well, they're going to have to pay. Well, I'm sorry, the railroad companies, they should pay and just go, okay, America, now the cost of transportation has gone up another 20%. What's the fucking difference? It'd be better to pay something that's 20% more than to say you can't have it at all because the unions have gone on strike. You see, that's how good unions are. Oh, by the way, unions are a communist concept. Now, do I think corporations should be able to screw everyone over? The answer is no. The answer is no. But I don't like what unions do anymore. And here we are, big corporation versus big unions. And who pays? That's right. Who pays when corporations and unions get together and have meetings? You and I, one way or another, either in higher rates or lack of goods. Thanks, unions. Thanks, railroads. Thanks, Biden. Unbelievable what they're doing. SHTF explained in an hour. Folks, I've been going since way before the sun came up on the East Standard Time, East Coast Standard Time. I'm down south in the East. I've been going multiple hours, way more hours than I should, but I can't help it. This is what I do. SHTF explained in an hour. Okay, how about this? You know you're an SHTF. You know it's hit the fan when your highest political leaders compare patriotic Americans to terrorists who have destroyed this country. What am I talking about now? Well, yesterday, was 9/11. And Vice President Camel Toes Kamala Harris compared Trump supporters, the threat that we represent, Trump supporters, she compared us, people who love the Constitution, love our history, love our country, love our culture, love our flag. She compared us to the people who committed the September 11th terror attacks, the Islamists behind those attacks. That's what she compared us to. So, wow, when your government says that you are the same as the terrorists that tried to destroy this country, what does that tell you? You're in some just absolute shit. Yeah, I'm sure the Patriot Act makes a lot of sense to her. I'm sure the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, was a perfect fit for how they think. They told us it was to protect America. And now they say that you and I, patriots, veterans, taxpayers, parents, obedient Republicans who follow the law, yeah, we need to be watched. The Patriot Act is for us, folks. The NDAA is for us. And by the way, it always was for us, patriotic Americans. Because this plan that's being rolled out now by Kamala Harris, by Joe Biden, by Obama, by Nancy Pants Pelosi, by Democrats, by the World Economic Forum, this has been part of the plan all along. And now it's coming to pass. Literally coming to pass. Get your questions in. Get your comments in. Get your jokes in. Get whatever it is you want to talk about in, because we have a lot to go over, folks. SHTF, explain this in an hour. Okay, how about this? When the people who protect this country, when the people who help others get screwed out of their jobs, get their careers just destroyed by government, and the government doesn't fix the problems, the government doesn't recognize that they were wrong, admit they were wrong, fix their problems. I mean, get this, an ex-New York Fire Department captain went to the New York City Council meeting and just gave him an earful and said, you guys are fucked up. Right? Now, he's a former fire captain in New York, Brendan Fogarty. He lost his job, folks, due to the mandates. That's right. And he came out and let them have it during the city council meeting on Friday in New York City. Can you imagine that? This guy lost his job because the unlawful, unconstitutional mandates said, F you, we don't care. We're going to get rid of people who are qualified servants of the people. And folks, fire department personnel are highly trained, specialized public servants. And they said, nah, we don't need you anymore. We don't want you around because you won't obey the Democrat shit. Right? It's interesting. I wonder why Brendan Fogarty, former fire captain Brendan Fogarty, I wonder why he said, I'm not taking the Jim Jones juice. I mean, should there be any question in anyone's mind with all of the children that are falling over, having heart attacks, strokes, blood clots, dying in their sleep, keeling over on the field? Not to mention not just children, but adults, super athletes, folks. Not fat old people like me, but super athletes. Great shape, men and women in all sports keeling over. And we're not hearing about the regular folks, people just like you and me, who are in pretty decent shape. We're not super athletes, but just regular people are keeling over. And the fact that undertakers or morgue workers who prepare bodies, right? Embalmers, there we go. They're finding the most unusual clots in, what was it, 50 to 70% of bodies have outrageous numbers of bizarre clotting. Oh yeah, line up. Go get your Jim Jones juice and get all the boosters you want if that's what you believe in. I think Brendan Fogarty probably suspected this wasn't a good move. And he spent, folks, he didn't just sign up and get hired and they said, hey, you look like a captain. He put 20 years working in the New York Fire Department to rise to the level of captain, right? That's a career. You have to be committed to this job. And remember this, if you will. Dr. Dark Helmet, Dr. Dumbass, Dr. Doom and Gloom, Dr. Fauci said no one was damaged irreparably by his recommendations and mandates. Remember that? No one's been irreparably damaged. Well, how about Captain Brendan Fogarty's career? Right? How about everyone else who lost their jobs, lost their businesses, lost their savings? What a piece of crap. I mean, total piece of crap.
With COVID, I mean, the things that we thought we knew in the beginning turned out as the months went by to not be the case, which really forced us to adapt and to change some of our policies and recommendations. That was interpreted by many as flip-flopping or not really knowing what's going on, when it really was the evolution of the science.
Fuck you, Dr. Fauci.
That's pretty funny stuff. Take that, Dr. Fauci. No one was irreparably harmed. What a jerk. I mean, okay. SHTF explained in an hour. Pennsylvania Democratic Senator candidate, right? This socialist Democrat pile of crap. His name, folks, get this, is John Fetterman. John Fetterman. John Fetterman. He was at a pro-abortion rally and introduced himself as John Fetterwoman. This guy has lost his mind. Has he lost his mind, or is he just identifying differently today? Well, I'm now John Fetterwoman. This is the guy who had a stroke or some medical issue. Probably not cerveza bug and Jim Jones juice related. Right? In a coma, can barely speak, can't do anything. He's like Joe Biden. He is not going to give up his run for the seat. How can he inspire anyone? He's a complete dunderhead, and he looks like a muscle-bound lurch. Just a giant goober who doesn't even know his own name. That's how you know when you're in SHTF. Totally. Just good golly. Doesn't even know his own name. Biden, right? Biden. He's just, okay, everybody, I'll get in trouble if I say this, right? It's like, who are you talking to? These people are losing their minds. Are they really this stupid? Or is the Jim Jones juice really killing off their brains a piece at a time? A piece at a time. Now, this would surprise the hell out of everyone. It surprised the hell out of me. President Trump traveled to Washington, D.C. Folks, I'm not even, in trouble with the law. I'm not being investigated, as far as I know, the way President Trump is. He flew into the hornet's nest. He totally flew into the hornet's nest, right? I mean, that's the devil's den. Surprise, I'm here, right? Why, where's the FBI? Why haven't they arrested him? Where's the Attorney General, Merrick Garland? Why isn't he at the airport chewing Trump out and talking big shit? Where's he at? Right? Where's the AG Garland, the geek? Where's the Department of Justice to arrest this massive criminal? Right? Bob Barr was like, the DOJ has enough evidence. It's getting very close to time to arrest Trump. All of these tough talkers, where the fuck are they? All they do is talk shit, folks. I mean, is Trump, is he stupid? Or is he actually completely innocent? And he's like, yeah, there's no reason to arrest me. And if I have to go to D.C., I'm going. Folks, I'm not going to D.C. No fucking way. Right? I'm not big enough and powerful enough, and very few people are, right, to put up with the amount of evil that comes out of there. It is unbelievably evil there. And I want to wrap up the monologue section, even though I've got a lot more to say and a lot more things to cover with you to explain SHTF in 1 hour. But I'm going to end it with this, right? Incredible hypocrisy, incredible stupidity is a hallmark of a collapsing government structure. Isn't it interesting, though, how these people who are abjectly retarded, they still manage to get elected to office? Kamala Harris, folks. She crawled out from under a rock, and she criticized the Supreme Court and called them activists, right? Kamala can't string a whole sentence together without making idiotic statements followed by her cackling up whatever is lodged in her throat. And she is going to criticize Judges Thomas and Alito and others, right? I mean, I wish Thomas would come out and just say, back off, bitch, right? The dumbest ever be thy name. Unbelievable what is going on in this country, in this world of ours. Shit has hit the fan. You bet it has. Any doubts? They should be erased. Understand? Yeah, we've explained SHTF many times in many ways with many examples. But there's more, folks. There's always more. And has it or has it not gotten worse? I say it's gotten worse. Every month, every week, every day, we're given more examples of how the Democrats are taking this country down. So now it's going to be your turn, folks. You get the second half of the hour. It's time for the Q&A. So get your questions in, and we're going to get it on.
Are you ready?
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. MAGA Republicans, extremism. MAGA Republicans, extremism. Donald Trump is not normal.
He's not normal. We're not normal. Folks, who is the one who is not normal? I mean, I just talked about all of the different ways. Well, as many as I could squeeze in 30 minutes. And we've got 1 hour, folks, to prove to the world, to explain SHTF to everybody. And I think we've already done just a fantastic job. All right, what do you want to talk about? Jolene, who do we want to pop up first? And we got Mick in the UK. And we're not talking about like a Mickey D's burger. This is Big Mick, not a Big Mac. He says, no chemtrails over British skies since losing our queen. Weird, don't you think? Any reason why? What do you think? There's no explaining, in my opinion, what is going on in this world. Literally, I can't explain it. You know, why there's no chemtrails since losing the Queen of England. No idea. Maybe they're taking a week off because of some funeral ritual where they don't need to pollute the skies because the Queen's spirit is floating through the... I don't know. I really don't understand. In America, Mick, we don't have a king or a queen. Right, this belief that somebody, because of whose womb and vagina they exited, has a right to rule over everyone else is just rather foreign still. I mean, I understand it. I understand royal heritage and royal bloodlines and the belief that they are deities of sorts. I understand it. I just don't agree with it. And I don't see the point in supporting the ridiculous notion that just because you fell out of some other person's nether regions makes you qualified to make those kind of determinations. To me, at this point in human history with human intelligence, right? But then again, look at who the United States of America has elected president. And I know all about the election, folks. You don't have to tell me and remind me that there's problems with our system. So maybe we do need to have a king or a queen here in America versus putting people like Biden, Kamala, Nancy Pants, John Fetterwoman, Vagina Merrick Garland, people like that in charge, people like the Obamas and his husband, Michelle Michael. I mean, there's so many ways to point to our system and go, who are you guys in America to criticize England for having a queen? So I apologize for even pretending to criticize another system of government, because ours has been utterly destroyed by the most ignorant amongst us. Unbelievable. Okay. Thank you very much, Mick in the UK, for allowing me to say that and then circle back. All right, we've got Doc Holliday and says this. He says, check out your Republican Party candidate thoroughly when they could be a Democrat sleeper. Democrats are showing how dishonest and dishonorable they are in the way they run for office. They're now calling themselves sleepers, folks. Democrats pretending to be Republican so they can be elected and then, flip. Now, in a lot of ways, we've been experiencing this for decades and decades, right? These are what we call rhinos, Republicans in name only. But these people are far worse. They're not just middle of the road Democrat ass kissers. They're literally Democrats who change political party so they can run. Now, speaking of running in political parties, I've talked about John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, but I want to bring on some more good news for you and also raise a huge warning flag. In the state of Georgia, which was one of the contested states that appeared by all accounts to have some irregularities in 2020, we've got Herschel Walker running against an awful human being. And we were told months ago that Herschel Walker, who is, by the way, a great college running back and also a great NFL star and a friend of President Trump's, right? Herschel Walker is now pulling ahead in the polls. Watch how that plays out, right? These leftist scumbags, they'll pretend to be Republicans and then they'll switch. And if they stay in the Democrat Party, then they say the most asinine things ever. And again, why would John Fetterwoman, right? Why would he be attending an abortion rally? I mean, I don't know what percentage it is of Americans that would side with these sorry sacks of shit that run around and literally scream that they love killing babies. That is the Democrat Party. Who would want to be a part of that? They're just a bunch of sick fucks. They really are, folks. I'm tired of sugarcoating it. I'm tired of being polite. I'm tired of being nice. My patience with these idiots, it's wearing thin. I'm not, of course, threatening anybody, and I'm not going to do anything violent or stupid, illegal, harmful, dangerous, or violate terms of service and community guidelines. So just chill out, YouTube. This is a satire channel. All right, let's move on if we shall. What do we have, Jolene? Who is up next? And we've got Kilo 1. John, the invasion is here. The third world is here. 5 million people projected by 2024. I tell you what, it's going to be more than that. I think 5 million is we're going to get that in the next year and a half. With 200,000 people coming in per year, that is 2.4 million. Well, we've been going almost 2 years under Joe Biden, and we're at 4 million people that have invaded this country. And by 2024, we're going to have another. Right? This is incredible. It is over the top. We are being invaded, folks. We're being invaded. It's incredible. You know, I've actually sat down with a high school student and had some food, some dinner over the weekend and discussed history. I wanted to see what they're teaching kids in school. And sadly, this guy is a piss poor example of what schools put out, because he was actually able to describe, going back 1,000 years with me in discussion, the rise and retreat and strength and weaknesses and the fall of the Ottoman Empire. Now, who are the Ottoman Empire? That's it's the Islamists, the Middle Eastern power that has come up through the Middle East and Northern Africa, through Eastern Mediterranean and into Eastern Europe. The Turks, if you will. Well, they have been interested in invading Europe for well over 1,000 years. And a couple of times they've made full-on military runs at conquering Europe, coming through Turkey, right, the seat of the Sultan. And they got stopped in Hungary. They got stopped in Austria. They got stomped back in Romania and Hungary. Anyways, they're back. That's exactly what is going on with this invasion by accepting immigrants by the millions and millions of immigrants that are just pouring in to England, France, Spain, Italy, Germany, Scandinavia, and also the eastern parts of Europe. Now, I believe it is Hungary under Viktor Orban. No, we're not letting these people in. It's because they know who they are. They are anti-European, anti-white invaders who are showing up. It is, folks, another push by the growing Ottoman Empire. I'm going to call them that for lack of a better name. And who are they being shoved through into Greece? Well, by the leader of Turkey. He's not known as the Sultan. He's known as the president, right? Right. He's Turkey's leader. Right. He's also the largest military in all of Europe. Right. Erdogan, Turkey, NATO. And I really am expecting them to side with Russia and change sides altogether. But over here in America, we have a similar invasion coming from our southern border from the south. Shit hitting the fan, explained in 1 hour. Invasion by foreign armies. That is shit hitting the fan, and we're watching it worldwide. Unbelievable, folks. Unfreaking believable. Let's do this. Let's move on if we shall, Jolene. And folks, if you have, all of you out there watching live, you're on thepreparedmind.club or subscribestar.com. Either or, you pay $2 a month. You can do more. Some people do $5, $10, or $20 a month, and I thank all of you for it. But for those of you who are on a limited budget, $2 a month is 7 cents a day to support this channel, the information. And folks, I want everybody who's over on the YouTube side, when you finally get to watch this, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and share this video. Share the video so that others can wake up and they can have SHTF explained to them in 1 hour. All right. I think I saw Blue Cord Devil up there, Jolene. Sorry about that. I got taken up. And this is what the statement is. Just read. CO2 storages brace for beer shortages. Carbon dioxide. You know, evil carbon. How many humans do you know have died from carbon dioxide in their beverages? Right? Probably none. Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, any sodas, beer, anything that fizzes, well, that's carbon dioxide, CO2. And did I just read from Blue Cord Devil that there's going to be shortages of that? There should be, folks, all the carbon dioxide we can handle. Right? These companies should be scrubbing the air, right? Cleaning the air. Well, if they're cleaning the air of carbon dioxide with their scrub, where are they putting it? What are they doing? Are they putting it back in the sodas? Are they putting it back in our beer? Are they compressing it back into charcoal and then going to bury it in the ground? Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. This was interesting, and it really does apply to this SHTF in an hour. This is going to continue to be a problem. A woman, folks, in California was bitten by an illegal immigrant. That's right, an illegal immigrant whose visa expired. He cut her head off, I think in front of the woman's child. He used a samurai sword on his ex. It's completely horrific. I mean, how do you explain this? Is it because we're getting better? Because bringing all these immigrants in is a great idea? Because people like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi are great? Because their supporters, Bill Gates and George Soros and Klaus Schwab, because they're so brilliant, things are great? Could it be, folks, that Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum and all these idiots in D.C. are making things worse? Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And folks, I think they're doing it on purpose. They need to destroy America. What does that mean? We need to save America. We need to defend America. And at some point, it's going to be so obvious that the Democrats are evil and intentionally trying to ruin our lives with Cerveza bug and mandates and their taxes and their regulatory shit and the ATF and the FBI and the IRS. It needs to become so painfully obvious, and it will, that we will demand that these people be removed from office by the scruffs of their neck. Oh man, I would love to see that day. Nothing illegal, just a really good, shall we say, dousing with tar and feathers. That needs to be returned. Right? I think dueling needs to be returned as well, so we can just take care of some problems. The whole folks, these people are ridiculous and they're dangerous. All right, let's see what else you guys want to talk about. We've got a lot going on, and it's Heidi, and says, she says this: since I'm technically a registered Democrat, oh, I don't know if that's a joke or if you just never re-registered or what, because you're actually not insane. So anyways, Heidi says, since I'm technically a registered Democrat, today I got a fundraising plea from Pelosi's people because they got a bunch of stuff from Trump's buddies about the ice cream social, not declassified documents, not even J6. They're still trying to stamp out all the proof of the ice cream social. Thoughts? Let's see. In the world of marketing and sales, there's two ways, or maybe there's many ways to go about getting business. And one of those ways is to take a big pile of shit and throw it against the wall and see what sticks. That is one of the worst marketing and advertising campaign techniques, Heidi, that's available to humankind. And that's exactly what the Democrats have. They have thrown all manner of shit about Trump at the American people up against the wall, and nothing sticks. The ice cream social, getting peed on by hookers in Russia, right? Russian collusion. You know, Trump is Putin's lackey. I mean, what else? Everything they've said about Trump, trying to bring him down, right? The old grab him by the pussy thing. Well, that's nothing compared to what Biden actually did to his office staffer. Do you remember that? 1996, the complaint came out right before the election in 2020, and the mainstream media completely ignored it, pushed it off to the side. An ex-Biden staffer said that she was sexually assaulted, right, by the man who now is sitting in the White House, and the media won't investigate it. The media won't investigate and report on Hunter Biden's laptop. The media won't investigate and report and ask the question, who was on those airplanes going to Little St. James Island, where Jizzy Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, right, criminally and immorally and unethically and in all manner evilly, in a very evil manner, brought young women and who knows who else as little sex toys for these sick people. Right? But I'm sure if Trump was on one of those planes, we'd hear all about it, and only about Trump. These people they're just lost, folks. These people in charge. You want shit hitting the fan explained? How about this? The Veterans Administration, folks, and this pisses me off. They're suspending the benefits to the family of a Marine Corps veteran, Zach Rell. He is charged with seditious conspiracy, folks. He's being held without bail, despite no violence, no altercations with the police. Right? Another J6er. What did he do wrong? No violence. Oh, you walked in the Capitol? Folks, young patriots in America, they go from being school students in high school to engaging in Army and U.S. Marine Corps training. And they're meeting a very serious world, and they're realizing they matter and that they can participate in life, that they get to vote, that they can take action, that they can serve, that they can defend. Right? But having a political voice and serving at the same time, that really isn't a crime. But in this case, it's being treated as one. Right? This young Marine enlisted, folks, while Trump was president to serve under a Make America Great Again presidency. He saw something that occurred during the election, and he wanted to support the president, President Trump. January 6th, President Trump was still president. And the way you know that you're in SHTF, folks, is the FBI, the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, and the Democrats have turned free speech into a crime. And this Marine, folks, is being denied privileges, and his family as well. And his rights are being denied while he's being held for a nonviolent crime. No bail allowed, no clear crime charged, closing in now on 2 years in prison. And meanwhile, in Chicago, numerous felonies and misdemeanors are now labeled as non-detainment, and arrests won't even occur. That's how you know, folks, when shit has hit the fan, when you're in a situation like we are right now. Right now. That's why I say I don't think I'm going to allow myself to be arrested, because I can't be assured, I can't be convinced, I can't be guaranteed justice and my constitutional rights being respected by this government up in D.C. and many state governments and many local governments. They're corrupt as hell, and they're just getting worse. That's it. They're just getting worse by the day. Unbelievable. Okay, another one of your questions and comments. Get them in. We've got just under 10 minutes. So get your questions in. We'll get them answered. Mikey G says, we are being led by the least qualified amongst us. 25 years ago, a little more than that, right? My ex's dad explained to me the Peter Principle, right? He worked for Pacific Gas and Electric Company in California. And he said, yep, the least qualified amongst us are the ones who seem to get promoted up into supervisory positions, then management, then upper management. Isn't that unbelievable? How does that work? How does that make any sense? Well, I witnessed it in action in my tenure as a corporate stooge. I really wasn't a stooge, folks. I wasn't a yes man. I argued and fought with people, pointed out their hypocrisy, told them to shut up, and told it like it was, and managed to keep that job for 10 years. Now, what I did see, though, is that people who weren't qualified to do their job, the last thing they wanted to do was promote or hire anybody who was smarter than them. They didn't want anyone around that could possibly make them look bad or expose the fact that they didn't know their job properly. So when we say, well, look at Washington, D.C., the least qualified amongst us are running the show. And not just the elected, but the unelected bureaucrats. They all engage in the Peter Principle. And I'm not talking about monkeypox orgy activities, even though I'm sure that's a big part of it as well. They want to hire people who are not threatening to them. And then those are the people that get promoted up the chain because they're not threatening. Because everyone knows, you don't get to say shit. You're not very qualified. Well, they just get promoted and promoted and promoted, though, don't they? That's the Peter Principle. The least qualified amongst us seem to always get these jobs in powerful positions. Well, they're also clever liars. And in order to get where they're going, right, they engage in, probably graft, bribery, blackmail, and extortion. Doesn't surprise me a bit. Just go ahead and Take a look at the Clintons for a little while. Tell me what you think of that. Tell me how far you're going to get with that. All right. Who wants to take another stab at SHTF explained in 1 hour? And none other than Sally Sue wants to take a crack at it. And she says, John, what percentage of those attending rallies and screaming for abortion rights are actually aware of their evil, and how many are following along with what they see as popular? Now, Sally Sue, I have an opinion, but it's not based on scientific fact and inquiry, nor scientific methodology to poll these people or sit down and explain our position and our thinking so they can tell us what caused them to make such ridiculous decisions. But what I can tell you is anybody who shows up at an abortion rally is there because they want to see it happen. Right? There's a bunch of normal people out there, and they've got one or two reasons in there that they can justify having abortions occur. And they use that as an excuse to support all abortions. They're just not that bright. Once again, the least intelligent amongst us are out there voting, folks. I wish I could put my IQ up against someone else and say, hey, look, right, we're going to prorate voting. If your IQ is below 100, right, you get like 1/10 of a vote. If your IQ is above 100, you get a whole vote. I think that would be fair. Right? If you don't have a stake in the game, meaning owning property, paying taxes, etc., right, you don't get a vote, or you get a very small vote. And I know that that's not popular. Oh my God, John, how could you say that? One man, one vote. One woman, one vote. Anyways, how many are just following along? I think the people that follow along are in the Democrat Party, but I don't think many of them attend the rallies. I think only the most radical and sick attend the rallies and cheer and wave flags. But the one thing that I do think about them is that they are aware of their evil. And this is it's truly sick, is they know what they're doing is wrong. They know they're extinguishing a life. And they're saying it now. They're no longer denying it. They actually say it in front of cameras. They love screaming, we love killing babies, and I'm going to go do it again. They make it some sort of sick dare that they have, some sort of challenge that they've kind of committed to. This desire to tell the world that they love killing babies. Why? I don't know. They are evil and they want everyone to know, and now they can, and they're not punished for it. They're not punished for their evil. So when we discuss human nature, humans need to find boundaries. You come to this boundary, bam, you're stopped. You go to this way, you hit a boundary. And so you're supposed to operate inside the boundaries. When you get rid of all the boundaries, there's nothing stopping people from committing all manner of evil. If there are no moral guidelines or legal guidelines, they'll just do whatever they want and get away with it. Look at the Summer of Love 2020. They committed all manner of evil, billions of dollars in damage. They murdered policemen. They murdered business owners. They murdered people on the street. They burned, committed arson, private businesses, residences, and public offices like police stations and courthouses. They destroyed public property and personal property. They looted and stole. And once again, they murdered indiscriminately, men, women, old, young, it didn't matter. They called it mostly peaceful. But when we look back, it was anything but peaceful. And then January 6th, there were these same radical people infiltrating the crowd on January 6th. The good patriots were infiltrated by these scumbags who then began to act out violently. The police engaged, folks. The Washington D.C. police engaged in criminal activities, instigating violence. It's horrible and it's awful. And the Democrats want to say, whoa, 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 that is immoral and it is illegal. And we need to hold these Republicans, right, very, very, right, accountable. There's no room. There's no excuse. So they're like, you can't do anything. But for their own people, all rules are off the table and there are no boundaries. Is that intelligence or is that hypocrisy? Is it evil? Folks, SHTF is about evil turned loose. Tyranny on the rise. Despotism coming from desperate socialists and communists. We've got a war right in front of us right now, folks. SHTF is a war for our minds and our souls. These leftist scumbags, they have no morals. They have no decency. Everything, folks, to them justifies or is justified as long as they get what they want in the end, right? The end justifies the means, meaning they will do anything and everything they want as long as the end result is they are more and more empowered. And that is why the Nazis and the communists, folks, socialists, Nazis were socialists, the communists are socialists, they ended up murdering over 100 million of their own people. That's not even counting how many died in wars fighting with them. Socialism kills because it is immorality empowered. It's SHTF with a badge and a gun. In America, we don't have to tolerate that. America, least of all, should tolerate that. And we have our Second Amendment, by the way. Never forget that, Merrick Garland. We have our First Amendment. Never forget that, Hillary Clinton. We have our rights. Never forget the Declaration of Independence. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 0:30. I'll tell you all about it when I get there. For now, chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Godspeed, God bless America, and Semper Fi.
Are you ready?